that's the one who gets the benefit or the receipt of what's in the basket. They're called the beneficiary. There's always 3 people involved in any trust. Now the thing is, with the living trust, you could be all 3 people. You could be the one who puts it in for your benefit while you're alive and well, and you're managing it for yourself. So while it's in a living trust, you can burn it, bury it, give it to the Hare Krishnas. Okay? But when you get sick, we've already written in the terms of the trust who the new manager should be. And we just hand them control of the basket. And they manage it for you and whoever else you say it should be managed while you're sick. When you die, well, guess what? You can't wear any of those hats now. You can still be the one who put the money in, but you can't be the manager and you can't be the beneficiary. So at that point, what do we have to do? Well, the trust should tell us who the new manager is and who the new beneficiaries are so that we can distribute the assets to them. Now, the reason living trusts became so popular is they avoid probate. Why do they avoid probate? Because if the assets are in the trust, they're not in your name when you die. They're in the trust's name. And the trust doesn't die. It just gets a new manager and new beneficiaries. So that's how the probate process is avoided through the use of a living trust. Now let me remind you though, one of the most important but most ignored aspects of avoiding probate with a living trust is making sure that everything's in the basket. If you die with your house in your name, even though you have this piece of paper called a living trust, what's going to happen? You're going to go through probate. So you need to make sure everything's in or pointed to the trust in order to avoid probate. And I say pointed to because, like I said, things like your IRA will not go in the trust while you're alive and well. Why would that be? Well, remember what IRA stands for? Individual retirement account. If we take out of your individual name, the IRS is very happy with that. Because what happens when you take money out of your IRA? They make you pay the tax. Well, even if all you said was change the title of that account from me to my trust, the IRS says, well, what you really did was you took it out of the account and then you put it back into another account in the name of your trust. And the taking it out of your account subjects it to immediate income tax. Well, we're not going to do that. So instead, we may, after considering your goals and your situation, name your trust as the beneficiary of your IRA so that when you die, it goes in the basket and the basket tells us what to do. Same with your 401k, same with your life insurance. We can have them all go through the basket so they can go in one direction. The one exception is annuities. Annuities really should never have the trust as a beneficiary unless we've got a really good reason, because there's a lot of icky tax consequences when a trust owns an annuity. Okay? So that tells you something about what a trust is and how it's designed to work. Now, when we talked about simple wills, when we talked about if you have a simple family, what's a simple will exactly? Most of the time when people ask me for one, they don't really know what it is. So I'll tell you what lawyers call a simple will. A simple will says, when I die, I want everything to go to my husband. And if my husband has predeceased me, I want it to go to, I have 2 kids, my 2 kids. That's a simple will. I haven't put any charities in there. I haven't provided for the fact that my kids are 12 and 13, and what are they going to do with all that money? Okay? I haven't provided for the fact that maybe Derek, my husband, is now going to go hang out with Bambi the Hooters waitress, and he's going to give her all the money and not my kids. That's a simple will. Okay? So what happens in a simple will is that we have some estate tax problems. Okay, so now I first got to tell you all about the estate tax. See, that's what Peggy promised. I'd tell you about wills and trusts and probate and estate taxes. And then you're going to ask me more questions because I'm sure there's more going on in your head. The estate tax applies to, it's actually a gift and estate tax. So there are taxes appropriate when we make a gift. Now it used to be that the recipient of the gift would end up paying the tax. But we haven't done that for a while. Now the giver of the gift pays a gift tax. Okay? Now that only applies, though, if we give over and above the amount that the government thinks we shouldn't have to worry about. And then the government figures if we haven't given enough of it away during our lifetime and we leave it at our death, they're going to tax it then too. Okay, so if you give it away while you're alive or you leave it at your death, there's a potential tax. So let's talk about the ways that there isn't a tax when those things happen. Let's talk first about what's called the unlimited marital deduction. When you give something away to your spouse, or you leave it to your spouse at your death, there is no gift tax. There is no estate tax. And it is unlimited. So the person I choose as my example for this kind of story is Bill Gates. I can't tell you how many times I've read somewhere how much he has, and I can never remember what it is, because it's a number that boggles my mind. Let me suggest that it's more than all of us in this room have. And even if we went to the other people in the building, we would not get close. So, when Bill gives something to the lucky Melinda Gates, there's no tax on that transfer. If he dies and he leaves everything he has to the lucky Melinda Gates, there's no tax on that transfer. Okay? So if we do a simple will, everything I have goes to my husband Derek, okay, then he doesn't have to worry about how much I have. He will not have to pay tax on that. But let's talk about the next way that people don't have to pay gift or estate taxes. I'm going to give you the lawyer words for it, and then you can just, don't write them down, because I'm going to give you a better way to talk about it. We called it the unified credit. Now we call it the applicable exclusion amount. We call it the coupon. That's the one you write down, okay? Everybody has a coupon. The coupon is the amount the government says if you give it away during your lifetime or you leave it at your death, we are not going to subject it to tax until it exceeds the amount of the coupon. This year, the coupon for gifts is $1 million throughout your lifetime. You see why I don't talk about estate taxes that much? Right. Everybody's going, oh, well, I'm going to zone out of this conversation. And if you talk about what you're going to leave at your death, if you died this year, $1.5 million. Now, they're coordinated. If you put the whole $1 million away during your lifetime, you only have $500,000 left at your death. But if you give out $500,000 during your lifetime, you'd have $1.5 million minus $500,000, so a full $1 million to leave at your death. Okay? I give you that number, and then you can almost forget it. Because Congress has played a funny game with this. Okay? Back in 2001, they wanted to eliminate the estate tax, but they didn't want to pay for it. So what they did was they were going to gradually increase that coupon. So it went from $1 million, slowly up to $1.5 million now. Okay? It'll go up a little bit more to $3.5 million in 2009 for people who die in that year. In 2010, they said you don't need an estate tax coupon because there won't be an estate tax. Now, we won't talk today about what happens to capital gains, but there won't be an estate tax. But Congress couldn't get enough people to approve how much that would cost, so that law will sunset in 2011. That law won't be in effect anymore, and we'll go back to a coupon of $1 million, because that's what the coupon was before the law went into effect. So we call that the roller coaster ride, right? You're going to go up, 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 whew, back you go. So I don't know what you want to think. If you want to think the coupon's $1 million because you plan on dying after 2011, if you want to think the coupon's $1.5 million because you got 9 months, I don't know. I plan with $1 million because I really don't know what's going to happen. I think Congress is going to change it, but until they do, I got to deal with what the law is. Okay? The other thing that I'm just going to reference for a minute is what we call the under-the-radar gift. Because I saw a lot of surprise when I said, do you know that when you give a gift, you have to pay a tax? And you're like, what? Ooh, what? Well, the government doesn't want to figure out when you gave your grandkid a bicycle. Okay? So they call this a de minimis gift. What we call it is the under-the-radar gift. You can give up to $11,000 per year